Another putrid game. Which I realized I didn't even update the graphic behind me. Another putrid game. Um so the Mets drop the second game of the series by a final score of 7-1. And I think obviously the biggest concern, more than anything now, is what Juan Soto's injury is. And normally I wouldn't be that scared by a foul ball. Normally, like I would be like, hey, you know what? He's gonna be fine. After the Jose Siri thing, I worry. Like truthfully, and just with injuries in general, I always think the worst. You have Pete Alonso who limped trying to get through this game, and then to go along with that, you have Francisco Lindor who just had a inexcusable putrid day at the plate. You had the bottom of the order virtually contribute nothing outside of Mark Vientos, which very interesting that he's the only one producing right now, it feels like. Um, and then Jose Budo stinks. And then here's Carlos Mendoza. Instead of keeping it potentially at a one-run game, here's Carlos Mendoza instead, opting to keep him in there for a second inning when in that one inning that Budo threw, it was so obvious to a casual baseball fan. A casual fan could have told you, you can't send him back out there for a second inning. And then what does the manager do? Sends him back out there for a second inning. And not only that, you would think at the very least, okay, because this was my thought with that as that was unfolding. My thought was, okay, he's facing Iglesias because you got the righty there. And then you have Brooks Raley on the righty to face Jake Cronenworth, the lefty. Like that makes perfect sense, no? And instead, Carlos Mendoza opts to keep Jose Budo in. He gets bodied around. Elias Diaz all of a sudden getting big hits. Iglesias had a field day on them. But I get it. I get it because I had someone in my replies on Twitter, and I get it, where he was saying there's no point in micromanaging the bullpen or over analyzing the bullpen, whatever he said there with that phrasing. But he was saying that there's no point because at the end of the day, this team isn't scoring runs. And yeah, that's true. I mean, both things suck, right? Jose Budo has been horrible all season long. And this offense, I mean, you get bases loaded with nobody out, and you get one run from a sac fly. You don't get your runs from, a big hit. You don't get a clutch single. You don't get base clearing double. Nope. A sac fly. And I wouldn't complain if they got the sac fly and other runs. I won't complain about a sac fly normally. But Lindor just that at bat. Just horrible. Horrible baseball play tonight. I mean, they were just not even competitive at all outside of that inning where they had the bases loaded with nobody out, and they still weren't competitive in that inning because they get one run across the dish from a sac fly. Uncompetitive baseball. And I'm really hoping that nights like this are further proof as to why this front office needs to add to this offense. It's just further proof. And I just don't understand where the we're gonna kick you in the testicles mentality is with this team with runners in scoring position. I mean, it's August. It's about to be August. 107 games in, and you still can't get it together. At a consistent enough clip. It's one thing if they were, you know, every now and then chipping in offensively with runners in scoring position. You come up short and, your bullpen blows it because that's baseball and it happens. It's one thing if that's what was going on. But it is just so painful that these losses are because this offense is complete and utter dog shit when they don't show up. And it happens way too often. And that's the problem is that even when this team is winning baseball games like they were over the last however many games in that 7-game win streak, even throughout that, these issues were still here. And I was willing to look by, and I'm still willing to look by it for the time being because there's a trade deadline. But my point remains that you can't look at this lineup as a front office and say one bat's good enough. Luis Robert's good enough. No. Go get me a Luis Robert. Go get me a Brandon Lau. You have to. I mean, Tyrone Taylor is so unplayable that they didn't even want to let him take the at bat there, and rightfully so. I'm not blaming Mendoza for that, but I'm just saying the type of guys that they have on this roster right now. It's just so frustrating. It's frustrating because it's been the same problem all year long. That's what's aggravating about it the most. Again, I'd be able to look past this and all these losses in July. I'd be able to look past it so much more if this offense showed more consistency with runners in scoring position. Or at least showed fight in some of these freaking innings. But the problem is that this has been the issue 107 games through the season. That's where my anger comes in. And like I said last night, in the grand scheme of things, will this game matter? I have no clue. I have no clue if this will decide the division. I have no clue if this will decide if they get a bye. No clue. It might not. But these top guys got to come to play. And Lindor's been coming up small lately. Alonso's been coming up small lately. And like you're in the freaking I'm trying to think of the words I want to use, but you're in the part of the season where like let's go. Come on. Cuz to me at least, I want to see this team win the division. I want to see this team get the bye. And the thing that also is very frustrating as well is what Matt was saying last night in the chat. He was saying that this team, and this was last year's problem too, where they'd get on these hot stretches and then they'd have one game where it just goes so poorly and then it snowballed into multiple games of poor baseball. All I could say is if I'm going to spin this positive in any way, I asked for a 4-2 road trip. They still have the chance to do that tomorrow. And I mean, you better. You can't after these past two games. You better bounce back after these past two games. You have to. And then as I'm reading through Twitter, the X-rays came back negative on Juan Soto. He's day to day. Too early to tell if he's going to need an IL stent. I'd imagine that's just going to be a he gets the day off tomorrow thing, and then with the off day on Thursday, he'll be back in the lineup Friday. That's my prediction. I don't know, but that definitely that's definitely a huge sigh of relief there because I just I was so freaking worried. I have Jose Siri trauma now from that. The only other positive I guess you could take away from this game is that I thought Minaya was good, even though you only got 5 innings from him. That one at bat that he had the battle through where he threw a lot of pitches, it sucks how much that derailed the fact that he could have went deeper into this ball game because if he doesn't have to go through a 14 pitch at bat with Jake Cronenworth, you're probably at least giving him a chance to go out there in the 6th inning and maybe that 6th inning goes differently and then maybe Budo fares better in the 7th inning. I don't know if that's the case. No clue. But either way, I mean, this offense wasn't doing anything. But that's another positive that I have from today is that at least Sean Manaea looked very he looked a lot better. He looked a lot better out there. So we'll see. Hopefully though, I don't know. I'm not gonna exhale completely with the Soto thing until I see that he's not on the IL. That's when I'll feel better about this. I mean, Mike Puma just put out actually funny enough as I refresh here a quote from Soto. I think it's going to be good. We just have to get the swelling good and go back to work. Well, then that tells me he's probably avoiding the IL unless tomorrow he wakes up and it's just worse. I'd imagine it's just something with the toe. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'd imagine tomorrow though he's off for sure. I mean, you gotta give him the day off tomorrow, which means we get to watch Tyrone Taylor take at bats tomorrow. Very frustrating day for me overall, which honestly adds to the fact that I'm so angry about this game, truthfully. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't like sharing that stuff, but definitely did not help because I was like, hey, you know what? Just I'll have a surely the Mets will bounce back and calm me down from the day. Nope. Nope. Only made my blood boil more. But I digress. This team is done. No life whatsoever. No life tonight. Can tell you that. No life tonight. Doesn't help that the bottom of the lineup is cooling off and the top of the lineup is nowhere to be found. You're 100% right, and that's it's a big problem. And that's why I was saying, like, even when they were winning games during that win streak, you need the top guys to start to step up. And I thought Lindor was maybe breaking out of it, but then he had another night like tonight, back-to-back stinkers now. Pete Alonso really wasn't breaking out of it. The home run I was hoping would against the Angels hasn't, unfortunately. They lost that game when they barely scraped a run across with the bases loaded and no one out. 4 hits with all of them being singles is nowhere near good enough to win. Not at all. Just inexcusable baseball. I mean, think about that. You don't even get an extra base hit tonight. Not an extra base hit. You should be ashamed. You should be ashamed if that's how you're going up to the dish and playing. Very disgraceful. They barely score the run on the sac fly too. If Tatis does a cough, Merrill's probably a better throw. That too. I mean, yeah, I can't even disagree at that point. Marte doesn't even hit that ball deep enough. That's the sad part. It was nice to see Manaya's fastball velo was more consistent. Saw more of it around 90 to 93 instead of dipping into the 80s. Would like to see him utilize more of the arsenal still. Yeah, that's definitely something that we talked about, and I wholeheartedly agree with. Where I still want to see him actually utilize the sinker more because he threw it once today, and I was like, okay, maybe we're gonna start to see it more, but we didn't end up seeing it more. So hopefully that's something that changes because it's one of his better pitches. It's all good. I appreciate that though. Um, Seems been boring to watch since the All Star break. I don't know. I mean, at points, yeah. For the most part, can't disagree. Um, I don't know. I thought some of the games in San Francisco were exciting. Thought last night's game was exciting until they didn't end up winning. But I get it. I get it, especially with the amount that they've lost at points when they should be beating teams like the Reds, especially that series still just makes me angry. But all right, I'm gonna wrap things up. Thank you everyone for watching. Leave a like, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.